Hey, this Mongo. All right, so I've been going through the Ruthless Aggression documentary. This is my review, or my thoughts and notes about episode 2, which is the first episode asked three interesting questions. One, how are you going to simulate competition in an era where there was no WCW? The response was the brand split. Two, they were asking how do you maintain the fan base knowing that you're going to split the audience and the ratings are going to go down and all that type of stuff. And the answer was to use Undertaker and Triple H and people like that from the Attitude Era, your Dudley Boys and your Chris Jerichos and those kind of guys, Kurt Angle. You were going to use them as sort of bridges between new stars and old stars, and the old generation and the new generation. Excuse me. That makes sense. And the third question was, who was going to be the top star for this new era? And obviously the answer is John Cena. So this episode was kind of like the John Cena episode of the Ruthless Aggression era. And it was really effing good. It was really fucking good, okay? Because you really got to see the evolution, not just the evolution of John Cena, but also the amount of stroke he was able to maintain over time. But the important thing to me was that you could see, not really from the beginning, that they didn't really have any direction for John Cena. He didn't have any direction. And it seems to me that a lot of people, because for so long John Cena was the top guy, he was the top dog in the company, that it kind of felt like he was earmarked from the beginning, when he wasn't. John Cena was a guy who was bland. They said he was wearing the sports team colors, so like he would come to Detroit and he'd be wearing the Red Wings colors, which would be red and white, and it was just like he looked like a job guy, and he wrestled like a job guy. He did not stand out, and it wasn't interesting, and so he was lost in the shuffle. And he went from being lost in the shuffle, he took a chance and made himself look silly by doing raps. And they told the story about him rapping on the bus with Rey Mysterio, and Rikishi and Stephanie overheard it, asked him to freestyle, and then she said, hey, you want to do this on TV? And John Cena said, like, this saved my job. I was going to get fired in the December cuts, which is right around Christmas, but learning or taking a chance and rapping on TV saved my job. And I think that's some really interesting stuff, man. Not to mention that they were kind of anointing Cena, and at the same time they were kind of not sure about him. They gave him this match with Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle said he did really well, and he had this great handshake scene with Undertaker when he introduced himself to, when Undertaker was sort of the WWE champion, or he was the undisputed champion, one or the other. And him and Cena shook hands. I didn't remember that at all, and it seemed like Cena might have been the guy, because they told the story about, where they went to OVW and they were looking at prospects in OVW, and the prospect that they had their eye on the most was Rico. But Rico, the flamboyant, effeminate former police officer from like Las Vegas or something like that, and he was the guy that they were scouting, because they were kind of seeing if he was any good. But Cena, sort of stole the spotlight from him when they were watching. And they showed some clips of him doing the whole reverse promo where he would say something and then he would and then say it again, which I think was interesting. He never did that on WWE TV, so I think that would be cool if he was able to bring that back. But the Doctor of Thugonomics, as silly as it was, as over the top as it was, as goofy as it was, ended up saving this guy's career and became the launching pad where he was able to do a lot of other things. And I think that wrestling fans, sometimes they're so quick to pull the plug on somebody, where they say, oh, well, if you're not the world champion in 6 months, you're never going to be the world champion. We're gonna just give up on you, nobody cares anymore. You lose a match that they think you should have won, and all of a sudden, it's not, you're not the guy anymore. You have no shot. It'll never happen for you. And I think Cena is really a textbook case of people being wrong, and that he's also a textbook case of, being a great worker as far as in ring. It's not really that important because people really got into the Cena as a personality, as sort of the character, as him saying outlandish things and doing outlandish things. And the thing about that is he took a really big chance with this too, because he said, once he became the WWE champion, he decided he didn't want to rap anymore because he felt like the vulgarity. Let me start over. He was saying that he didn't want to rap anymore because he started to see the demographics in the audience change. And this is something that I think that a lot of people like us who sit on our couches and talk about wrestling and talk about the business, we look at these stupid Nielsen ratings and we talk about, oh, this is the people who are watching, the 18 to 34s or the 46 to 49s or whatever the fuck. We don't look into the audience anymore because, Cena is a guy who's looking in the audience. He's in the building, looking at the crowd. He can see who's there and who's not there. How is it changing over time? And he started saying, like, hey, I saw more children. I started to see more kids. And the vulgarity of the raps, like, you can't do the rap without it being vulgar. So because I can't, in good conscience, do the vulgarity in front of the kids, I don't want to rap anymore. And I think that is, even though it was kind of it was subtle because it just went away. It wasn't a thing where they made a big deal out of it. He just stopped doing it. He just stopped rapping. He continued to wear jerseys and gym shoes and, that kind of stuff, had the hip hop aesthetic, but he stopped doing the actual raps because he saw the audience change. Excuse me. And I think that was very important because it signaled, I think, to Vince that they needed to start changing the product. And I think this was, like the Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero stuff was obviously the reason why Vince McMahon decided to go scorched earth PG. But I think that the seeds for it came when John Cena decided not to rap anymore. Like, yeah, there was still some vulgarity, not necessarily from his character, but there was some vulgarity still in the program. There was, still a lot of adult themes in the program. Cena just didn't always get involved in it. He kind of stayed out of it. Like, he was still involved with some, but not nearly as much as he was when he was first getting over. And I think that because they changed that about his character, all of the hate that came from the Super Cena days, a lot of the hate that came with it came because he stopped doing what everybody was like. When he was super over, that's what he was super over doing. He was super over rapping. But then when he stopped doing that, he just started kind of cutting sillier promos that are more child friendly, more Nickelodeon promos. People were kind of like, ugh, thumbs down. But he felt like he needed to do that for the audience that was in attendance. And this is an incredibly powerful thing for me because we know that Cena's audience is mostly children. But, we also know that a lot of the people in the 18 to 50 age group didn't really like him. So you would hear those audible children and sometimes women cheering for him, and then you would hear those loud, deep, testosterone-filled boos for John Cena. And you would see often people online not understanding why John Cena would never turn heel or why he would never do the things that he was doing. And to me, it made perfect sense. He made these sacrifices so for the audience that were watching him, specifically, people who wanted to see him, who was buying his merchandise, who was coming to see him, he felt like he had to stay true to them. And that really was so important to me. And I like that, that the John Cena was that guy. that, you know, yes, ruthless aggression was the name of the era, but he kind of felt like that was the wrong way to look at it. That they should have been looking at it from a different era, from a different view, and he kind of went counterculture to what he was, you know, supposed to be. Like, he was supposed to be the edgy new guy, the new top star, and he kind of decided to go in a more child-friendly Nickelodeon way, and that, of course, it sacrificed all of the goodwill that he had from the older audience, but it really made him a superhero to children, and it made him more important to that demographic. And I think that's fantastic. I think that's a really mature decision, and I think that you know, I'm operating off of, you know, using this as absolute truth. And of course, you had people who came to the building to boo John Cena, because that's kind of what they do. And people were invested in John Cena, and he didn't want to, you know, misuse this newfound power that he had, because it's completely different from when you trying to grind. You're grinding out from the dirt when you're about to lose your job, to now you're the guy and the company is behind you. Then you don't need to continue doing the same things that you were doing when you were grinding. And it's risky to go away from that, but I think he did so, and obviously he did so successfully, because both him and the WWE continue to do fabulously well. And it says a lot that John Cena had that kind of stroke, and that the company had that kind of faith in him, that they kind of was willing to sacrifice something that really kept him over with every aspect of the audience, and was willing to sacrifice that and say, we're willing to run some people off in order to put smiles on children's faces. You know, which kind of helped the questions that they were asking earlier, because now they had to rebrand anyway. Why not rebrand as something that is more child friendly? You know, and it was a risky move, and even to this day, in the year of our Lord 2020, people are saying that it was a bad idea for them to go full PG, and maybe it was, but I like the reasoning why they did so. So, what did you guys think of the episode 2 of the Ruthless Aggression, the John Cena episode? If you liked it, let me know. Let me know why. If you have your own news and notes, let me know. Like this video, please. Share this video. Talk to other people about it, and subscribe to my channel so I can feel appropriately motivated to continue doing this. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you later.